What's up, everybody? My name is Tucker. In today's video, we're going to be looking at some NBA trades that Bleacher Report says everybody wins. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like rating on it. Check out my socials in the description as well. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first up, apparently we're contractually obligated to begin with a Ben Simmons, and I'm assuming Kyrie Irving trade as well, just given the fact that it says Sixers Nets at the top of the screen here. We have Brooklyn receiving Ben Simmons and Victor Oladipo. The Sixers getting Kyle Lowry, Cam Thomas, and 2 firsts for Miami, and the Heat getting Kyrie Irving and a second-round pick. So, obviously, they made this article at this time of the year, so they're saying that the Heat are going to trade Kyle Lowry before he has even played a game for the franchise. But let's just, in theory, right? They're just for fun. So, Brooklyn gets Ben Simmons and Oladipo. They're giving up Kyrie and Cam Thomas and no picks. If you're trying to do a Kyrie Ben Simmons thing, this is certainly an interesting way to do it. You do the Simmons-Irving swap, but then you also get a veteran guy in Oladipo in exchange for a younger guy in Thomas. His value goes to Philadelphia so that they get a little bit more in return for Simmons because they're not getting Irving, and instead they're getting Lowry. You could talk about the value there, of course, depending on their availability, whether it be injuries or them actually being eligible to play basketball games for the team. Continually, the Irving situation is weird because nobody knows how many games he's going to be able to play or if he's going to play at all this season. And it's already been reported that Philly would not do a Simmons-Irving thing. They're trying to figure out what to do with Simmons, or they're trying to reintegrate him back into the team. But strictly from a value standpoint, great value in my opinion for Brooklyn because you don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie. I think Simmons' fit is interesting on this Brooklyn roster, assuming he wants to be like a role player, Draymond Light type guy. For Philly, Kyle Lowry's a guy they've wanted for a while. They get the 2 extra firsts. They get Cam Thomas. They can package those 2 firsts and Cam Thomas for somebody else to help them down the road. And then for Miami, if you like Kyrie and you think Kyrie is a guy that's really going to fit well with Jimmy Butler and into the whole Heat culture thing, it's definitely an upgrade from a player standpoint, assuming that Kyrie is available and, just doing what he's supposed to be doing. Because as much as everybody likes the Kyle Lowry to Miami signing, he is getting older. He has had some injury issues over time. And it's hard to say what's more of a sure thing, but ultimately, I don't think it would be a bad idea for them to swap them. Obviously, it's not realistic until Kyle Lowry actually plays some basketball games for the Heat, but still, it's an interesting one. Next up, we have the Warriors making a deal for Bradley Beal. In this trade, the Warriors get Beal and Chris Boucher. The Raptors get Wiggins, going back to Canada, Kuminga, Kispert, a 2022 first, and swap rights in 2023. The Wizards get Siakam, Wiseman, Moody, and a 25 first. Interestingly, the reason this is interesting to me immediately is Washington is trading Bradley Beal, but it's not just for young guys and picks. They're getting a real player here in Siakam who can either play for them and potentially stay there long-term because he is on a longer-term contract than Beal, or they can flip him down the road as well, which I think is critical. Golden State, they get Beal. They have to give up Wiggins, Kuminga, and Wiseman, and Moody, and some future first. That is a ton of value, especially when you look at the Warriors roster and you don't know if Klay's going to come back healthy yet. But if he does come back healthy, you don't really need a ton of other help at those guard spots. And you want to keep these young assets, Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga, the future first, to continue to develop and keep the depth that they've actually created here, this season that they haven't had over the last couple. It would be a huge risk, in my opinion, to trade all those things, even in exchange for a player as talented as Beal, when the possibility exists that you won't need Beal if Klay comes back healthy. But of course, that's a big if. Toronto gets a ton of value here in exchange for Pascal Siakam. Wiggins, you can say what you want about him. You can make fun of him if you want to, but he is an interesting guy. He's a guy that has improved in his time in Golden State, potentially could be good for your team despite, the contract not being ideal. Kuminga, I really like. I think he showed a ton of promise in Summer League. Kispert, another young guy, and then you get the future firsts as well. That's pretty good value in exchange for Siakam. And then again, the Wizards, you get Wiseman, you get Moody, you get a first and Siakam. I would say that this is a win-win-win trade. However, I think Golden State's giving up too much in exchange for Beal without knowing what's happening with Klay Thompson. And as a result, I don't think they would do it, but the other two teams, it is certainly very, very interesting. Next up, we have a De'Aaron Fox. Are we doing Ben Simmons here? We are. Okay, so Philly gets Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Derek White, and Thaddeus Young. Okay, the Kings get Ben Simmons, Danny Green, Lonnie Walker, Josh Primo, 2023 first, and the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox, Seth Curry, and Shake Milton. Okay, my immediate reaction to this is that Philly is not into this. I like the idea of Ben Simmons in Sacramento. I like the idea of De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. This is probably the worst fit out of any of the trades we've covered so far in the video, though, for a couple of different reasons. They just continue to pop up in my head. So Philly gives up Simmons, Danny Green, Seth Curry, Shake Milton, and they get back Halliburton, Hield, White, and Young. From a role player depth standpoint, yeah, that's pretty helpful. You know, the Simmons' value is certainly lower than it used to be, but why would I want to give up Seth Curry? He's a really critical part of the team. Shake Milton provides some backcourt creation. Simmons' value, like where's the value I'm getting here for Simmons from like a core standpoint? I just don't see it. I like Halliburton. He's going to be a really good player for a long time, but he's not the centerpiece for Ben Simmons trade. Same thing for Buddy Hield, one of the better shooters in the league, but I traded one of those away in Seth Curry. So am I really getting a ton of value there? Derek White is fine. Thaddeus Young is fine. I don't think Philly's into this. Sacramento probably would be, depending on how they feel about De'Aaron Fox. But then they don't have any guards. They have the one dude that they drafted this year in Mitchell, and then Primo, and then Lonnie Walker. But like they're trading away Fox, Hield, and Halliburton in the same trade. They go from having too many guards to not nearly enough, and they've got Ben Simmons. I don't know if they say yes to that. In San Antonio, Seth Curry there, cool. Shake Milton there, cool. De'Aaron Fox, I like. But De'Aaron Fox and DeJounte Murray together in the backcourt, while defensively sounds exciting, from a spacing standpoint, sounds like a disaster. So ultimately, this just doesn't feel like a very clean fit to me. I'm out on this one. Next up, I'm assuming we have 5. Normally they do 5. Next up, the Suns trade away Deandre Ayton. Okay, the Hornets get Ayton and Malcolm Brogdon. The Pacers get Rozier, Washington, PJ Washington, Jalen Smith, and a 23 first. And the Suns get Miles Turner, James Bouknight, and Wes Iwundu. So are we operating under the assumption that Miles Turner and DeAndre Ayton are similar in terms of value? Because I'm not sure that's the case. DeAndre Ayton is a guy we've seen drop 20 and 10s in playoff series and play really well against Anthony Davis in a postseason game. And Miles Turner is like, he's not on that level. Like, I know that they're getting some backcourt help with the young player in Bouknight, and DeAndre Ayton needs a new contract, and Miles Turner's already signed long-term. I like the fit of Ayton in Charlotte, and they get Malcolm Brogdon, so they lose Bouknight. They get another guard that can help them. But like, my immediate reaction is Phoenix is not trading DeAndre Ayton for Miles Turner. Even while they're trying to figure this contract stuff out, I just don't see that happening. We'll start here from the top, though. So Ayton and Brogdon, I like that in Charlotte. Replacing Bouknight with Brogdon. Ayton, of course, in the middle. That would be awesome in Charlotte. Indiana gets Rozier, Washington, Smith, and a 23 first, so they're playing a bit more for the future here. They trade Turner and Brogdon. They get Rozier, who signed a new contract, Washington, who I like, Smith, who was a top 10 pick 2 years ago, and a future first. And again, Phoenix, I don't love the fit. This one I'm out on. I think Charlotte does this in a heartbeat, even though they do have to give up a couple of players that I'm sure they like in Bouknight, Washington, and Rozier. But bringing in DeAndre Ayton to fix those 5-spot issues, and you get a guard replacement in Malcolm Brogdon, I think they would do it. The other two, I think, are questionable. Last up, Dallas is apparently trading for Zach LaVine here. Chicago gets Brandon Ingram. The Mavs get LaVine and Garrett Temple, and the Pelicans get KP, Brunson, Kobe White, and 2 future firsts. Okay. So, 2 unlikely things are happening here. New Orleans is trading Brandon Ingram, and Chicago is trading Zach LaVine. So, the reason those 2 things are unlikely is Brandon Ingram signed long-term. They need to keep as much young talent as they can, and they're trading something that's proven in Ingram as a high-level scorer in exchange for something that's unproven in Kristaps Porzingis and future assets, those being Kobe White, Jalen Brunson, and future first-round picks. The Bulls are trying to convince Zach LaVine to sign an extension. They're trying to figure out some way to pay him there. They're going to have to give him a max. I just don't know if they've agreed to that yet. And I just don't see them trading away LaVine after making all the moves they did this offseason, unless they made those moves with the idea of moving on from LaVine. And then the Mavericks are getting the best deal here because they get away from KP. They trade Jalen Brunson. Yeah, they have to give up 2 future firsts, but Zach LaVine and Luka Doncic together would be an awesome scoring, playmaking, creating duo. And we've talked in the past about how, like, what would be the ideal 5-man alongside Kristaps or alongside Zion Williamson? it would be someone like Kristaps Porzingis, so the ideal version of him, who can space the floor and can protect the rim and play full time at the 5. But KP hasn't been that for a little bit, and certainly the injury issues are a question mark. This is a crazy one, and I think at first glance you might think, oh yeah, this makes sense. Chicago's getting Brandon Ingram to replace LaVine. The Mavs are getting their second star. The Pelicans are, shaking up the roster, getting future value. The Pelicans can't afford to get future value. They need to be good as quickly as they can to save David Griffin's job, to potentially save the franchise's spot in the city of New Orleans. They can't afford to continue to kick the rock down the road here and hope that, the KP thing works out and they get future value. They've got future picks. They need to be good now. They need to make sure Zion's happy and staying and the franchise stays. And so ultimately, I don't like this trade either. We started off hot. I'm not sure that all these are actually necessarily win-win, but I appreciate and I respect the effort. But that is going to be the end of today's video, and I thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, my name is Tucker. If you missed any of my previous videos, be sure to check out the boxes on the screen and check out my socials as well in the description below. With all this being said, once again, my name is Tucker. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.